there. You're listening to the Outsourcing Hub podcast, the pod that brings you anything and everything about building great teams in outsourcing. And we promise to share infinite opportunities, news, updates, and trends in the industry. Hosted by the Vice President of Sales and Marketing at Infinit-O, Mike Gunyon.
Hi, this is Mike Gunyon back with another podcast from our base in Infinit-O. And today I'm happy to be sharing the time with Richard Eldridge, the chairman and CEO of Infinit-O and also the founder. So Richard, welcome to the podcast again.
Thank you very much, Mike. Great to be here.
Great. So the topic today is to take a look at the year 2022 as it starts to present itself coming to an end. We can look back even further. The past 2+ years have been a wild and interesting ride due to the pandemic and other conditions. So we were all faced with high levels of uncertainty. And now as we look forward to the new year, we're slowly getting out of that and most things have returned to normal as they can be. I'm proud to say that in the outsourcing industry, despite those challenges, Infinit-O continues to deliver high quality services to our partners while ensuring that we prioritize also the welfare of our team members. Infinit-O recently celebrated its 17th year, and I'm happy to report that the company continues to grow, evolve, and innovate. Today we'll talk with Richard about Infinit-O, how Infinit-O is consistently creating endless opportunities for our partners to realize their full potential, and Richard's the best person to discuss it as he has been our visionary as well as leader. So Richard, how are you feeling today? You notice I'm talking about your feelings and not necessarily what you're doing, because we've really been paying attention to what people are feeling and in their mental health and wellness, which is a huge aspect of our culture.
Mike, thanks. You know me so well. Interesting you asked me. A few years ago, I probably wouldn't have been able to answer you, but hopefully I'll be able to answer you today. I think there's a few things that come up to me when I think about my feelings towards the end of the year, and specifically right now as we're entering the holiday season with Thanksgiving and Christmas. I think there's a lot that I feel very grateful for. I think looking back on what we've achieved and for the people that have done so much, it's incredible, and I'm truly grateful for all of those people. I'm also amazed at how much has been achieved this year. If I go back a year, I remember all the talk was kind of COVID's dying, everything's going to be okay now, we're going to move forward, it's going to be a plain sailing year, and obviously then the war started, and it's been pretty turbulent times ever since. So I'm amazed at how much progress we've made internally, and how much we've been able to achieve for all of our partners in our business. I'm delighted that we've been able to give so much to our partners, to our team members, to our partners who are our clients, as more generally to the society, and how we've been able to support all of them in realizing their opportunities that exist for them. And I'd say the final note, I'm pretty apprehensive. I'm apprehensive on what lies forward in 2023.
Mm-hmm.
I think going on in the macro environment, there's a lot for us to take a step back and think about. And I think there's a lot of uncertainty in the world right now. So I would say I'm a little bit apprehensive of what's going to happen. But overall, very grateful, very thankful, and really looking forward to 2023. And
that's great and well said. There will always be uncertainty, and the unknowns are the things that obviously we just don't know what the future will hold. But I think that the foundation that's laid on a year by year basis tends to help predict your future, right? And so in our case, the case of Infinit-O, even before the pandemic, mental health and wellness has been a part of the culture at Infinit-O. And now I feel that it's really been cemented in as an integral component, perhaps catalyzed by what happened during the pandemic and as mental health issues bubbled up. But is it particularly important for you and for the company as a sort of a key component?
Yeah, thanks, Mike. I would say, taking the kind of the two sides of that, I think it's, for me personally, the journey of mental health started a long time before COVID. I went through a personal tragedy of losing my wife, and it really got me thinking, what's important in my life, what is happiness, what is true happiness in the world, and I think during that grieving process and the years that followed, I really kind of became to understand that mental well-being is really number one critical to your happiness, and it's about feeling happy about your life, but also living a meaningful life and striving to reach one's full potential. And it's not something you're ever taught at school.
Yeah.
You come out of school, you get a job, you move on, however your career path takes you, but it's not something that's ever really discussed. It's kind of a taboo subject in many different areas, specifically in certain countries in the world. Historically, more with the male than the female, don't want to discuss it. It's an embarrassment. I think it's been hard to access resources for a lot of people, and I think people have always focused on the very negative. I call it the red zone. The red zone is where it's really unhealthy, and you now need to go and have external support or help from a psychiatrist or a psychologist. And I've, over the years, I've found that it's akin to exercise, physical exercise. Yeah, it's something you got to work on every day, and there are different zones. There's the green zone, and that's kind of you've got to work on it, and that's, you are very happy, and you're very positive, and you've got all those good things going on. And then there's the kind of the yellow zones where you need to keep working at it. You keep going to the gym every day to maintain your physical health. How do you bring that type of learning across thousands of team members, and how do you allow them to talk about it, have access to those services across the continuum that they may be in, but ultimately, I think, wrap it together in terms of a culture within a business that we care for you. It really, what greater thing to make people happy. And I think that's where I draw a lot of what we do in the company from. I do also think that since COVID, empathy, vulnerability have become more important, and now you're seeing it through some of the literature that they're saying it's very important. And I think linked to that is being able to open up about your feelings. You just asked me the question earlier, how are you feeling? If it's good or bad, it doesn't matter, but asking people that and being vulnerable to answer the true reality of where you are. So that's what's important for me, and I think it's just the right thing to do for us and for everyone.
Mm-hmm. I think that thought process, or that characteristic of being open and in touch with yourself has been instilled within the team. You feel it all the time, and I think that our clients notice that as well. They're very much get a sense of that people are an extension of their own business and their own company cultures, but the foundation's laid within the Infinit-O culture for our team members, our employees, no matter who they're working with. And it really relates in a way back to the core values that we have held and hold dear within Infinit-O. We call them pride, as you know, proactive, results-oriented, innovative, dependable, and engaging. And then extra value, a sixth value called malasakit, which is sort of uniquely Filipino, which is being empathetic and caring for others. One of the difficulties of taking care of a business for so many years, I know that we've just celebrated the 17th year, but would you say that those values relate to the mental health and wellness as well as really remaining intact after those 17 years?
Great question, Mike. So I think, values are something that I've always believed in, and we knew that it was not something that you can just have a session, put it on the wall, walk past every morning, and it becomes your culture. I think we've worked hard at it for a number of years, and we continue to work hard at it. I think we have kept the values for a long period of time, which I think is the right thing to do, because I think we truly selected a set of values, malasakit with pride, which ultimately really has enabled us to drive a pretty unique culture in what we have. And we see that through the high engagement levels, the low attrition, and a number of other things through our business. If we go back and think about why malasakit, malasakit was a term I'd never heard of. And then, I'd been working in the Philippines, and they've always been known to be a very caring culture. But when I understood it to be a core value of them, and it really made me think. And when I think about what it means, I try and translate it today into really you're caring and acting on the needs of others. And it's a sense of accountability and ownership. It's you care for others, you can help, and you actually act and do something about it. And I think that across a large group of people, with people we've been working with for the last 15 years, new people that come in, rallies people together around something. And it's something very special. And when you can link that malasakit with the pride values we have, and we can then, as a team, positively and negatively reinforce that behavior on a day-to-day basis, whether we're in person, where we're remote, and it's very actionable. I think over time it's made it a very, very core part of our DNA. So even if we've grown, even as we're doing a lot more remote work, I still feel that it is very core to who we are. I think, obviously everyone in the world is asking, how will values change? How do you keep values, when people are not all together in the office every day? I think it's still to be seen. But I'm very confident using the same methodology we've used and making sure we have conversations and are open and vulnerable with all our team members about the values. And it's a topic of conversation that we keep talking about, whether it's in one-on-ones, whether it's in team meetings, it's company-wide activities. That's going to be the success to what we do.
Richard, when you talk about team members, and we talk about clients and others, we talk about partners, almost interchangeable. So when you say partners, who do you specifically mean? I said it one way, partners, clients, team members, but how would you characterize true partnership and who our partners are?
Yeah. So if I think who we are as a company, we're a part of an ecosystem. We're part of a bigger community, and we're going to do our part, and we have certain stakeholders that we need to work with, and we can go out of our way to realize opportunities with them. So I think partners I have, when I think about that, is how we fit into our stakeholder map across the ecosystem we operate in. So how do I think about that? I think, team members, of course, it's critical. If we get it right with our team members, they deliver the amazing results for our clients. So I see our team members as partners of us and a critical component. I see our clients as partners of us. We've had and we continue to grow our clients. It's a pleasure to be working with clients who have been with us some 15 years. And that's true partnership and what we look for in all relationships. And then I think, we also have vendors. We have people who work with us on the supplier side, and we can do what we do without them. And they're another component of a partnership that we need to drive. We need to make sure is working for both parties as well. And then I think more generally, as we're moving into more sustainability across the organization, I think the wider community of what we do, we're a partner with that as well, and we need to start thinking more on that. So that's how I define partnership across the organization.
Excellent, thank you. As we can talk a little bit more about team members and taking care of each other, how would you characterize any of the milestones or big wins that we may have accomplished this year with and for our team members?
Yeah, our team members are,
and maybe it's evolved for the last couple of years, right?
Yeah, I agree completely. I think the team members are obviously the linchpin of what we do. We're a people business. And that's why we call them team members. We don't call them employees, because they are members of our team, and equally so. I think it's been really challenging for all of our team members in the last few years. They've had personal challenges at home with various different challenges with the pandemic. We've had immense changes to our business models, with more of a remote first setup than coming to the office every day. So there's been a lot of disruption in everyone's life. I think if I think about the wins we've had this year, I think it's a continuation of things we started a number of years ago. So I don't think it's like we just do one big thing a year and that's it. To me, it's an ongoing transformation and continuous improvement of what we do. And I think there's a few things we do which are really important. Number one is we listen. We have lots of check-ins with our team. We have surveys, we have one-on-ones, we have various feedback sessions, and that allows us to get a pulse, a constant pulse from many different voices across the organization, where their head's at, how they're feeling, what they need, what they want. And that allows us, in conjunction with some of the external thought leadership we're looking at, to develop plans and continue to enhance the plans we have to make Infinit-O a better place for everyone. So I think, if I was to talk about a few of those, and definitely we're evolving and optimizing these. I think, we can talk about, the remote first. We made a stand that we're going to continue to be remote first moving forward. We looked at various different data points and from feedback from our clients through to feedback from the team members, through to kind of, how we felt we could manage. And we've made evolutions and changes that, and we're still doing that. But what we're seeing by the feedback from the surveys and the informal chats they're having with their team leaders, etc., is the engagement and the satisfaction with what we're doing is higher than it's ever been. So I've got to say that a lot of that work that we're doing is aligning with that. And I think, everyone's learning. So I think that's very important. I think the fact we've been very vulnerable as a leadership team to tell them we're trying this and we're not sure it's going to work, but we want to give it a go and we want your support, and then we'll come back and evaluate it. And the majority of things we've tried have worked, but there's been a few that we've had to adjust. And I think that's okay. And we want to continue doing that. Otherwise, we're not going to get better. I think, we've rolled out, a more formal mental health program for people with a partner. So they now have access to 24/7 chat support. They can speak to a counselor if they need. There's pulse surveys. There's information they get whenever they need. That's critical as part of what we're doing for the team. We've rolled out new technology to make their lives more engaging and easier. We've rolled out an engagement platform that's helping. We've got more things being rolled out over the coming years. I think in the L&D side, we've partnered with a new provider, so we now have access to thousands more pieces of content that we've never had before, allowing them new opportunities to learn new skills for the future, and to develop not only for some people that want to go up and become team leaders or managers, but also horizontally as well, learning new specialized skills that they can look forward to in the future, whether that's analytics or technology or whatever it may be. So I think there's a lot of different programs. I wouldn't say there's just one. I think there's a lot of things we've been working on together, but it's really a symbiotic relationship between having great team members who feel that they're in a space where they can share feedback openly, and a management team that's willing to take that feedback and also push experimentation for things to create a great place to work.
And you mentioned remote first a couple times, which might be a new term for some folks, but why is remote first important? And it obviously fits into some of the things that employees feel are important to them: commute times and family, work-life balance, all that sort of thing. But I know that also presents that challenge that you touched on, which is maintain the culture, and yet maybe not all be present in the office every day. So if you'd like to touch on that a little bit, on your approach and thoughts.
Yeah, so I think even before COVID, we had plans to have and test some people, some roles, doing some work in a remote location. COVID accelerated those plans dramatically in a way that no one had ever foreseen. As the dust settled, I think we started to take a step back and think medium to long term, what do we think is the best thing for our partners? So the partners being, what are the best things for our clients? What are the best things for our team members? What are the best things for all of our stakeholders in our business? And what became clear is the way we had done it before wasn't necessarily the best way to do it in the future. So I think we've been very open to that. And I think that, there's not one size fits all. So I think you will have different functions will need to have different flexibility with regard to what happens in a central location, or in a location where people come together, and what can be done when you're on your own. I think overall, what we've looked at and we continue to look at is there's a lot of things we used to do in an office setup which can be done just as efficiently and probably even more efficiently because you don't get as many distractions working at home or in a remote location. There are certain things we took for granted when we're in the office that you do not have so prevalent when you're working remotely. And that's the question of how do you then get the best of both worlds? And I think that's what we're continuing to work through. But we've made some big strides. We've really made a few, and we put a few stakes in the ground. I think the first is, we need to rethink about what we do when we come to the office. What we've seen from our surveys and what's happened is if you get a person to come into the office to do the same work that they were doing in their home, they get very frustrated and very annoyed because they're like, hold on a second, I've just spent an hour to 2 hours commuting to come into the office to do exactly the same thing on Zoom calls potentially. Why? Yeah. Mm-hmm. So we've got to be much more thoughtful about that. So I think there are reasons within a team you want to all be together, whether it's training, team building, brainstorming, whatever the reasons may be, that it's critical. There's cross-functional projects that need to be done. And maybe some of those like brainstorming are critical, that better communication for certain creative tasks need to be done together. And there's certain groups that have similar interests, whether they're all potentially new members that come together on day one. Maybe there's people that like and want to share something. They want to do some work in a foundation together, or they all like playing basketball together. That it makes sense to get these people together to do these types of tasks. So I think we're on the journey. I think we're clear on we need to challenge all the assumptions we had before. We are being proactive at taking these things, but also working through it with our team members to understand it's not going to be one size fits all, and it has to be something that works for all our partners. It has to work for our clients, and it has to work for the team members. And I think we'll see more evolution of this over the coming years.
Mm-hmm. And speaking of partners and relationships, been talking a good deal about the internal relationships with our team members, the valuable components and assets really of what makes Infinit-O Infinit-O. To shift gears a little bit, let's talk a little bit on the client side. So we had a couple of years, we couldn't really travel to go out and meet clients, and yet we were building relationships over, virtually via video calls and so forth. And now we've been able to open things up again with the travel, and clients have been welcoming us into their offices and spending time with us. And in particular, I've been traveling, as you know, quite a bit this year, and others of our senior management team have been coming out meeting with our valued clients. And I think for you, who have the longest history with Infinit-O, you're now out again meeting with CEOs and other leaders of our client partner businesses, and just sort of wondering your thoughts. Obviously, it's vital to build those relationships and cement them at all levels. But what have you been finding? And I don't want to put words in your mouth, but do you agree with what I just said about cementing those relationships?
Yeah. So it's been a pleasure to get back out on the road again after 2.5 years of not seeing our partners, and also friends and family. if I pull it back, business is about relationships. It's as simple as that. Technically, tasks have to do. You run processes, input, process, output. That has to happen. But at the highest level, it's about building relationships and value. And I think there's no better way to do that than meeting face to face with people and understanding, listening, brainstorming, and building those long-term partnerships that we talked about earlier. So I think it's, coming back from a trip, I think the things that have been really interesting to me is to understand how different people have navigated the last few years, how they're now looking at the future, especially in these pretty uncertain economic times. It's going to be really interesting, but those are the kind of insights that are truly valuable in the partnerships. You can align with what they need coming up in the future. So I think it's something that we'll continue to do. We invest in it. We want to continue investing in it. And I think it's just good business.
Mm-hmm. Good business and good barometer of commitment to each other, and in particular, our commitment in this case to our partners on the client side. One of the things that we talk about often, or two things, is the credentials that support our belief that we're doing a good job or not a good job for and with our client partners, based on what they say. So two indicators are the Net Promoter Score, where we currently sit at 70 plus, which is pretty great. And then the other is retention rate. So even during these difficult times of COVID, and when some businesses were not able to survive, our retention rate remained at about a 98% level. And as I said, the NPS score is staying very, very high. In your words, what do these two credentials say about Infinit-O?
Yeah, as Mike, you know me pretty well now. I'm a very metrics-driven guy. But I think creating the right metric and rallying everyone around it is really important. And I think taking NPS as kind of a North Star metric for our business is something we've done for a number of years, and it really drives everything else we do in the business to be very client focused. And that's really what we did and why we set the whole business up way back in 2005. We were very passionate about helping SMBs be more competitive, realize their opportunities against the bigger guys. Yeah, I don't think that has changed. And I think us aligning with their success is super important and will always be really important. And the way we go about that, I think, is really proven out by those numbers. But it keeps us on our toes. It makes us keep innovating, keep listening, keep aligning with our partners and getting better and better at what they want us to do. And I'm really excited by doing that. And I think we're going to have a really successful future with all our clients.
Mm-hmm. I mean, it does relate back to our kind of mantra of agility, staying agile and nimble, helping our clients with whatever their goals might be, whether it's scaling or whether it's pivoting, right? One of those areas that we've really spent some time focusing on are what we call our technology-driven solutions, which I hope you'll talk more about, but how we've integrated technology into what was traditionally a people-oriented business, and how that's been a net positive change, net positive evolution for us and for our client partners and for our team members.
So let me start. So part of our evolution is to listen to how we continually allow our clients to realize their full potential. I think one of the things that we've seen over a number of years is that they want us to deliver more than people. Yeah, they want us to become, as some people would call, a center of excellence. They want us to take processes that they have been doing and make them more efficient, allow them to scale more effectively as an entire organization. The question is how do we then do that for them? We've got great people, we build great teams, we've always done that. The clients love the fact we do that. But I think we can't stop there. We need to go further and harder to allow them to achieve what they want to do. They want more efficiency. They want to be able to scale more effectively over time. And what does that mean? That means we need to not just do what we're told to do and follow the manuals, but actually review the processes we have that we're working on. Be able to challenge them, bring the domain expertise and the business process expertise that we have from the last 17 years and say, hey, there's a better way to do this. We think we can change the way we do this. And in addition to that, a number of those improvements we've been seeing over the last 5 years have involved technology. Asking the question, is there a way that we can get technology to support the team members that are doing the work for you? Can we make their job quicker, more accurate, faster, higher quality? Are there certain tasks that can replace the work that the humans have been doing? Yeah, so that they can focus on doing other higher value tasks for you that add more value to you as a business. Is there information we can collect, we can display, we can project that allows us and you to make better decisions moving forward, that allow you to scale more effectively? And I think that's the foundation for what we've created, which is technology-driven solution, matching our years of experience with business processes, domain experience, putting amazing teams together that can deliver amazing results on their own with technology that allows, whether it's automation, intelligence, in combination with those people, to deliver really breakthrough transformational goals for our clients in the next few years. That's why I'm excited. I'm glad we're on the journey, and I'm glad we're seeing so many positive results from what we're already doing with our clients.
That's great. And it also addresses sort of the need and our ability to share our consultative expertise with the client or prospective client, in that they might know what their pain point is, but we may not be hitting the real problem and root cause of that pain point, which is, I think, our real value downstream as we build these deep relationships with our clients. We get to really know what's going on, and then we can really deliver that deep value, doing more with less, doing more smarter, and so forth, especially in a scaling environment. No need necessarily to add a one-for-one team member because you've grown a little bit. Instead, bringing the technology and those business intelligent insights to the table. So it's a great journey that we're on. So speaking of a journey, 2023 is almost here. Richard, what do you think our clients are going to be looking for in 2023 that might be different than today? You mentioned uncertain economic times in the future, and maybe a few things that our team members will be on the lookout for with and for them in 2023.
2023 is going to be a really interesting year across the world. I think 2023 for our clients is going to be challenging, as is always the case. I think for me, even more challenging. I think the amount of uncertainty is going to mean they need a partner who can really join them along that journey. I think what I see is an increased focus on efficiency, which I really believe our TDS can deliver in combination with our teams. I think they want to be working with partners that are truly believing in sustainability. And I think there's some exciting announcements we'll be able to make next year alongside that, but we're truly committed to that as an organization. We want to do the right thing for all stakeholders, not just our partners and team members. I think that'll be interesting. I think there's immense opportunity to continue doing the work we do. We're rolling out a number of new initiatives around the Center of Excellence next year concept, which we'll be piloting and moving forward with a number of clients, which I think will align us a lot closer to what they really need. which I'm really excited about. I think having more time with us as a team now travel's back in motion is going to be a great opportunity to really embed those relationships that we've always had, but make it stronger than it's ever been before. So those are some of the things I think I look forward to delivering for our clients next year and helping them grow alongside us. I think for the team members, I think there's always really interesting opportunities ahead. We'll be making some further investments in our technology to allow them better access to training, OD, organizational development, and allow them to really drive new career paths. I think we'll be welcoming a number of new team members to our team, which will be a great experience for more people along that. I think we are planning to do more with our foundation next year, which is really exciting for me. How people can get involved in giving back, not just working with us as an employer. I think we're making some changes to our comp and ben next year to be more competitive in the market, which I think team members will be really excited about, and I'm looking forward to being able to roll those out. I think that there's a massive list, Mike. I honestly don't know where to stop here, but
yeah, I see a lot of work ahead of us. That's great, Richard. So you've spent a good deal of time with us talking about your viewpoints on client partnership, team member partnership, culture, health and wellness, the evolution of the technology plus people integration, and a little bit, I think, about I think what sounds like a very positive outlook for 2023, despite the uncertain economic times that lay ahead of us all. And I really also always enjoy talking about and hearing about the good work that's being done in the Infinit-O Foundation. So, Richard, I'll just thank you for spending so much time here, and appreciate you joining us all today. And so thank you all again, listeners, for tuning into this episode. To get to know us better, please visit our website at infinit-o.com. And you can always reach us at info@infinit-o.com. So until next time, thank you, Richard.
Thank you very much, Mike.
And thanks to all the listeners again today. Appreciate it.
And that has been the Outsourcing Hub podcast, building great teams with Mike Ganu. Thank you for tuning in. And always remember, start small, exceed expectations, think infinitely, think Infinit-O.